Okay. Now, what I want to talk about is the outskirts, y'all. I want to talk about things that I don't need to talk about and why I talk like this. So, why I talk like this is obvious, you feel me? It's obvious because the shadow followers have an excuse to act like they're not shadow following. So, you know, the reason why people take people's words out of context is presidential talk and alibi talk and clout talk and cadence talk and looking for excuses. So now, with that all said, out of those talks and more etc that can fall in those same categories, people bother people in a conglomerate, in a group of gun pointing what someone's objective in this scenario is about. So that being said, I didn't think I don't think anything I post recently or from the beginning, I don't wonder why. Maybe because my brain is, you can't unstretch your brain. But that being said, like, I don't think anything I've posted has anything to do with me enjoying life. Everything I've post, because people see I take a a big, you feel me, hunch of enjoying my life and making sure others enjoy their life if they follow common law and are respectful to their high grades of chivalry. Nothing I post, nothing since when I was in 1995, and you can't unstretch your brain, so I'm walking around with an unbelievable traffic of proof that I'm posting for safety, not of enjoying my life like any person that's like a Boy Scout being a tutor. So I say that because we are waiting for, I don't know, I thought that would be in the camp. Oh, there we go. You dig what I'm saying? So now that's going to recycle and say there's an alibi to say that's what he meant to do. And then the people that agree on my side, well, that's obvious. The people are going to agree, yeah, that was obvious. But he's been doing this for so goddamn long, we can still act like that's what he was meant to do. And then now we're playing with my senses of catching. That's what I was meant to do. Because like I said, whatever someone's juggling, that's where their roasting comes from. Because no one stereotypes roasting, but then, stereotypes mythology. We stereotype what we say stereotype means. And so we get a whole dilemma that there's no such thing as working with the satellites. Because if you tell the number one person that first started working with the satellites, they're not working with the satellites, and everybody else is in a domino effect of that person as their leader of working with the satellites, as I'm giving an analogy, but we're getting more than that. You dig what I'm saying? Then it trickles, okay, that person works with satellite, and they already say, well, that means the person you said that doesn't work with satellites works with the satellites. And that goes to revenue. So you tell the number one person that knows the monetary system and can help you, like Santa Claus on the nice or naughty list, they're broke. Then that means, don't make sense, because people that are, like I said from the first analogy, as I was just going to repeat, are companions to that person and spending money, like, my money is their money. And then when you tell the number one person, like, the analogy keep popping up, you feel me? If I'm getting accolades, I'm getting accolades. But when you tell the number one person that is known as the landowner, and then the landowner has attributes of surviving sleep of chronological time, then you say nobody owns the land. And then you be like, okay, you're a landowner. And then it's just like, well, that person that you're trying to play with that owns the land can stay there. And then you feel me, all the other analogies is just adrenaline to play with those things, like I said, with different talks of how people don't give people privacy to have a one-on-one. So, views is a respectful common law attendance. You feel me? When someone directly views your thing, that's what it is. Other than that, it's a conscious peekaboo games of the military is no different than gangbangers, and we disrespect gangbangers in the street all the time. And it's just like, those are the highest big brothers are in the military. So, as big brothers obviously slang for chief, from gangster to savage. You feel me? But big brothers were during the gangster era, I'm just saying as an analogy. So we get a whole, so this is just normal people that don't own shit, addicts on land that's not theirs, and thinking they can finesse the outlets. Which gets to the point of, we know nowhere on my body is going to have a, you feel me, especially me, you feel me, because how unstretched my brain can't go. So that means people are directly talking to my map on who's following me. Like, that means the atmosphere thinks of who's following me. And they don't talk to my brain that can't be unstretched. They talk to who's following me. Like, that's my comprehension. Which I have numerous videos of people doing this shit. And it's like, that's called trying to have a hostage. Because in the end, if I'm not coming up to you, if I'm not belittling you, and if I can't use my unstretched brain to make money, because the next unstretched brain with entrepreneurship on my level don't need nobody, don't need a store to show store slick troubleshoot. Not needing, you feel me, what I said about you being followed, so you don't want to use the humidity control, because I'm feeling wind, so obviously I'm controlling my spirit, mental, and physical body with the humidity control or the satellites. helped me, one or the other, because that satellite sensory go through the whole humidity control. And that on satellites, like I've been trying to tell people, that on satellites is a whole moment of silence, because once again, like I said, I'm not trying to go on here and someone talking under my breath. We're gonna have that, but you get what I'm saying. Because if it's understood, so talking helps me move forward from not needing somebody, and not needing somebody keeps people out of danger if I don't talk to them, which is the scenario of what I'm talking about, shadow followers and pseudo majority gun pointing scenarios. So that being said, so the sensories of the satellites, because we need it stamped and asterisk, are all over the humidity control. So that's how advanced the satellites are. And then they went far out in space and still moving as the world growing, if y'all didn't know that. To that way that it looks like the world isn't moving as a big spaceship. Existence isn't moving as a big spaceship. Which is why the halls of the Menti is known. And Tablet explained there is an outskirts to the end of existence, to the end of existence, to the end of existence, which is abbreviated from none, where they say we all come from. And that's the word community comes from. And you can be in a community, excuse me, and not related to somebody. So, that being said, this knowledge has been out. History has repeated itself, and how intelligent the person was out of giving the knowledge made the successors. Can't say the word right, but y'all know what I want to say, because I'm making a beat in the atmosphere. But hold on. So that being said, people not on my side were going to be like, what's wrong with your hair? Why aren't you doing your hair? And they know why, and they won't let me explain. So I'm on my side, and now we're going to have the people that know there's going to be something on my side, and then, it fluctuates from that ratio. People on my side will let me talk, and then people are ready to shun what they about to say to call out the next shallow followers for they didn't give a fuck, and then make it look like the presidential talk I said, where it's like an argument when it's not an argument. It's getting through stains. So that being said, that's what being a president is about. You feel me? Getting through stains of a conversation. And Donald Trump did the most that we have in this recording of existence. So that being said, a lot of people understand organic consciousness of words. So when it comes to technology, they don't have the technology because they're doing it the organic way. From none to making sacred geometry of their body and understanding the pyramids and clouds and suns and everything is surveillance for God, to the point that God is not going to play that way, you feel me? So that's where karma is law. So that being said, everything I'm about to say is deja vu. The problem is, right now, me going outside will not be held to what my unstretched brain is. It will be held to someone else's unstretched brain for just having a visualization of someone's stretched brain and put an opinion behind what they can be called. So other people citizen arrested, that's all they're gonna talk about, like I've said on the post. Oh, this is some good food, because it's troubleshooting common law customers and watching from, like I said, karma being law and every other organic thing more ancient than karma, or the kids of karma, to a manual bookkeeping that falls adjacent to common law that people citizen arrested put in voided rules that some people think is a Glock. So that being said, because like I said about hunting and camping and Boy Scouts, what I'm making this video for is, like I said, from talking to a companion that would talk out the stains with me, and talking to somebody that needs to do their job. In the end, my companion won't have enough time to stay out of the danger zone to talk out the stains with me. And people that are not my friends but need revenue to survive are right now boycotting, or girl, however, ETC mythology, thinking they can survive when they're not needed. So that they're boycotting, this is not working, and now they want to fight for it not working. So I'm in the predicament right now where someone be like, you look homeless or some shit. And I'm like, nothing else to say, right? I just look homeless, do something about it. And then it's like, I am doing something about it. Hurry up. What's your definition of hurry up? Now. You dig what I'm saying? Because in the end, there's a onomatopoeia in the atmosphere, like I said, like making a beat. Participating, and people participate in how to play with the stretched brain, because they know they're not on that level, but they understand from visualizing that stretched brain what is going down in the intelligence, the stretched brain. That's what the world is really is. It's the intelligence of the stretched brains and what the stretched brains hold people to. So, like I tell people, I'm a therapist, right? You feel me? If they don't want to give me credit, that's fine. That's my own fouling. That's not for you. You feel me? But in the end, having that fouling and people know of that fouling, that's that advance, they're just playing dumb. I just not know that's fine. Benefit that is them playing dumb on purpose, because they know the world is. The most stretched brain rules. Knowledge is power. The most stretched brain rules the world. So the stretched brain rules the world, right? So people talk to other stretched brains, getting their knowledge and growing their knowledge compared to the most stretched brain they meet, hoping they can meet another stretched brain and talk to the next stretched brain that they thought was the most stretched brain, that there's a smarter person and you can't unstretch their brain. So the world goes all that way of the most, you feel me, unstretched brains talk to how they feel the stretched brain thinks about them for acting like they brain unstretched. And the rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper and deeper from that. And we get a whole dilemma of like I said, numerous videos of all it is them trying to make jokes about can't unstretch a brain and just in my face while I'm like, well, that means we know we can't unstretch the brain. You know I'm not gonna do nothing other than what needs to be done. And you can't unstretch your brain to not know that. But then that's where it goes, where they think they can drug somebody, you feel me, or play with their lust, and yeah, you didn't do what you was gonna do because even though your brain, you can't unstretch your brain because etc. But that being said, that's all it is. So now that's what I'm at right now, y'all. Simple people aren't moving out the way of the wilderness like a cheetah or a lion chilling in the forest. And the deer senses go for it. We know lions can sense this from here. So, lions is getting through their Aztec check before they move a certain way. So, like how video games have, like, duck here, they won't move. It's the same thing of animals on 4. So they duck there, they don't move, even though they can sense them. But how the Aztec check is set up and how they playing conscious peekaboo, they won't move. And then, so in the end, that animal that's like a lion in the jungle, it's going to take every step that they won't move to. And then they pounce. But and this is where the stretched brains and the unstretched brains, or the brains that are not as stretched as the stretched brains, are jealous because they don't have that in their repertoire, nor do they care about their life enough to put in their repertoire to move when they need to move. And people do it on 2 feet too. So that's the dilemma. People that don't care enough about their life, don't give a fuck about the food chain, you feel me? The rulers in the world. Oh, that shit fire. Hold on. Oh shit. Hold on. Okay. So like I said, just to get back to my main topic, and I'm just going to tell a story now. So I'm not going to get talked to for how stretched my brain is. I'm going to get talked to by the possum whose brain isn't as stretched as mine. And in that whole conversation, they're gonna talk about me being a godfather of having a more stretched brain. And they go say, and you feel me? And they gonna keep in mind my brain that's stretched, and they gonna calibrate the emotions I see and be like, well, I want you to do. And then they just not gonna budge. That's how those conversations go. And that's military work, you feel me? You feel me? The gist of people trying to be in the community that don't need them and know that. So finding the right place to squat. And then also finding the right place to squat. They do a lot of the things that is a scenario of the people that are around me, the Spedo majority that's around me, don't give a fuck about, you can't unstretch your brain or how stretched your brain is. So if we say the reason why you're not cleaning up isn't because a brain that's not as stretched as yours is following you, but you having a more stretched brain, and other people having that common sense to not do that while walking around in the satellite's radius from bird view back down as above so below, and the regular near sight to how you built it in line senses in the Aztec check, like I said, as within as without. They know that stretched brain that's not as stretched as yours comprehend they following. So instead of being polite and telling that stretched brain you are following, these things will get you to live a luxurious life. They're like, well, I know that. I don't want to live a luxurious life. That's simple. Nothing's easy. Nothing great comes easy type shit. And to Tesseract from bird view is the same whole world, still Earth, but from if you don't call linear growing, like technology coming to the linear, because we know Area 51 got all advanced technology. Then you have you feel me? If it was that same linear, then it wouldn't be a gathering of playing dumb to the stretched brain to say, well, your brain is more stretched to me. If you don't dumb it down. And if you do dumb it down, this makes you dumb. But so you stuck in, we gonna say you're the one that's not making sense because our brain isn't as stretched as yours. And they do that with common sense. So like I said about me cleaning up, this big one I'm not gonna say this until I get to another scenario, but it's a big shit in that. It's a big senses no of my personality. So that being said, another thing is when you're known as the most stretched brain and popular as the most stretched brain, but certain things didn't dart or stick to the wall, or stick in general, that they did with the next person while they couldn't play that dumb. You feel me? You won't go into a whole decade or decades later and they'll say that, and you feel me? So in the end, like this, Michael Vick was an athlete. Everybody knew Michael Vick was one of the fastest quarterbacks since high school. They knew it when he went to Virginia. It was all about showing he can throw too. And he showed he can throw and call plays. So he went first overall. No matter what, the Chargers would have took him first overall if they couldn't trade the pick. So they traded the pick to someone that wanted Michael Vick more. and it wasn't the direct front office. It was the Atlanta Falcons front office team. So that being said, that's not gonna fly over people's head like the word boss from I don't know. So that helped Cam Newton become first overall. And now the inverted of that scenario, obviously people anticipate in playing against Michael Vick. It's why the Chargers did not take Michael Vick. You feel me? They thought they could go a different way and win more rings without taking Michael Vick. And then you know, you feel me? You feel me? It's the shadow followers in the atmosphere, like I said. So, you know, I'm always get quiet when my Aztec check start beeping and someone's listening, a shadow follower's listening, that they're in trouble, like certain animals too, lions in the jungle type animals. So that being said, the inverted of the scenario is when it's those same categories, but you don't have an older soul, or you feel me, something in that category to esquire you, so you have to be your own esquire. So they just put that in as the bullying category of not having to listen. And, you know, like I said, people shadow balling against Michael Vick. Cam Newton grew up when Michael Vick was in the league. So you know, Michael Vick was that badge of pay attention to his shadow following. Old souls that could esquire that. And people, and you know, and if he was the older soul, the embodiment of their physical age and etc. made Cam Newton get respect for his shadow balling, his IQ, his therapy with emotional ball, and his conglomerate and anticipation skills, and it's a big one. It's like in the year, you know, the way the go against the odds type shit, all that. So that being said, because shadow followers are getting bored with not you feel okay. So back to satellites before I go off of what I was saying again. So satellites have a whole sensory through the humidity control, which is what 5G tower means, which is where the RP center comes from. So, you know, if you touch something that's not yours, you will be on pre-probation until you bring everything that's not yours back. Okay? Now, if you touch something that is yours, but traffic is bad, until you, like Grand Theft Auto, until you get rid of that bad traffic stars for being infamous, you won't be able to own that shit. So as I touch this, everybody that's trying to claim they touching this torch with me, as we saw me put this shit to my eye and nowhere on my body said I would do that. So you that's reading the audience that was watching, and how I have a humidity control around me to say, no, you read that right. That's why I don't need views. That's why I don't get views. You feel me? It's a whole... Oh, he knew I was going to follow him. And then, like I said about the possum game of the stretch bond is not like mine that they hold me to. They be in a blood clot in the and acting like, and that's with adrenaline. And like I said, with the pseudo majority. So in satellite's view, this is hilarious for everything that's happening. You feel me? For the military and the people who work for the satellites, which is with the military. And there's Asian songs that derive straight up making fun of people not respecting their ancestors because they was the first people working for the military and satellites, and they just did the hair shit right with traffic and without traffic because the ancestor helped, and you feel me, to the point that we have the traffic wilderness recess grave shift shit. So so the sensories is everywhere, and that's how court works. Court is really, as you made it to the dead end of where the satellite's watching you, and we have to speak this slang like if someone came up to you and just said hi, but you was conscious on your forefathers, and you went through a whole bunch of wars against that person that just wanted to say hi, and you feel me, they just say hi and all that. Then you was just tripping, but you wanted to trip. So you just had to admit you wanted the trip so you can go on about your day, but then you were scared in the satellite, so you didn't want to admit you just wanted the trip. So you came with a whole scenario that you're going to do better to cover up your slang. So now what was I saying? Can't watch the video yet. Okay. So like I said about, you feel me, and then on us brains not stretch his mind is playing along while, you feel me, all through every technology. So there's my copyright rights and etc to everything, because that shit goes further than maybe everybody's existence to show you how my brain's as stretched as Nicholas Tesla's. So that being said, me going to the grocery store is that's the it is a whole web and ebb scenario. It's not a I'm broke. It's not a, you feel me? But like I said about the sweater majority, life is a whole pirate game. Morocco peace treaty scenario with constitution and all of that, and indentured servants and etc. So that being said, we get the whole gist of people not getting up and moving because they think their mind is a controller. So everything I'm hearing right now is nothing to do with how I'm going to operate to rudeness. It's just everything I'm hearing is rude shit. And like I said about the satellites. So that being said, the satellites from chronological time know what I am doing. Everybody gets a gist of what I'm doing, but the majority has a whole. My brain isn't that stretched. You gotta be my teacher ultimatum, and I don't want you to be my teacher, so you stuck like this. But that was like, I'm 26 now. I'm not dealing with the same shit I was dealing with when I was first at 1995. Same people, not the same scenario. But I was ready for the scenario, how stretched my brain is from history repeating itself, that I had to throw out that statement to make it be understood. So that also being said, like I said, all I'm going to run into It's people playing with 2x4s and saying, why don't you use this instead of that? And I'm like, and they don't want me to explain. Obviously, that's not how it works. But yeah, as you can see, you feel me? Wind, heat. Wind's coming off this fire too. So you feel me? Not so hot wind. Now, does it look like I can't do that heat wind with my fingers? Somebody that's not on my side would say that. And that's not a big ass problem to an Esquire, but it's also what they thought I was gonna say was, well, they didn't think I was gonna say it, but out of fear, that's not the scenario. You feel me? So, in the end, me chilling. So, it's kind of like, how you'll move somewhere and someone's like, oh, Captain America, you feel me? Because you kind of move like Captain America or some shit. So, or Captain Planet type shit. You feel me? It's just a whole joke about why I'm moving like this. And, people playing conscious peekaboo. If people wasn't playing conscious peekaboo, they would be more scared to make certain scenario jokes. It would have been more of a spacious, oh my God, the military and the mob is going to have my head. I'm messing with an individual. But, people playing conscious peekaboo, they have a fake Suedo. He's thinking like this because I'm in bed with the mob right here. I'm in bed. And then the people over there is like, I'm in bed with the mob right here. You feel me? And the people over there is like, I'm in bed with, you feel me? And they all playing conscious peekaboo to the mob because they know the mob won't deal with them individually. So, now that's how you get your rank without a manual bookkeeping, which can be called a natural auto bookkeeping, because just like the truth doesn't go away, you feel me? Just like silence is always there, even when it gets loud. That's what makes the echo. You get the whole transcending things. And then, I'm not talking on this energy, you feel me? But we gonna still act like I am. And because like I said about someone's scenario, that's the scenario. And like I said about conscious peekaboo, these people in trouble with the mob and mafia. And, so in this conscious peekaboo game, and everybody knows that they're not in the mob and mafia that's playing conscious peekaboo. There's community parents, you feel me? Guardians, community guardians and all that. So, say you have a community mom, say you have a community dad, say you have a community brother. Which is what I'm troubleshooting, because you could be just a young little kid that hasn't proven you can be the community big brother, and then they think they're gonna finesse that kid that's actually the big brother, but they didn't update it to the community. So and then that what I said about the auto bookkeeping, it was updated. It just everybody didn't follow the protocol of updating to respect who's the more mature one. And you can have it with the mother. That kid's more of the nurturer, so he can just be looked at as, you feel me, the guardian, and there ain't no mother. If you feel me, the kid don't want to be called the mother. And then the father, you feel me, all these things getting troubleshooted. For the one that there for the aggression of learning, And that kid is actually way more aggressive than all of them, but they're not updating it. So yeah, that being said, that can be a scenario. But if everybody's that wasn't that good at it, is playing a whole astral projection, spiritual, mental, physical, consciousness, astral, like I said, peekaboo game. And they are on their marks and not getting set to go though. You feel me? Then you get the whole trenches, you get the whole military stains, and the whole, if you're the older soul, like I said about things fluctuating, but couldn't, because no one can be there for you. It'll be more dangerous for them. And then if you put someone in danger, then you put someone in danger. But if you don't want to do that, then you get that whole scenario, which is what I've been troubleshooting. And yeah, so you feel me? It's the whole conscious peekaboo of people being like, I'm not going to be in trouble. It's like, well, you're associated, and they do exactly. But what I got them just in trouble as much as associated trouble. And they just stop being associated, they start getting the associated trouble. And then they just act like the mafia is going to play with them. And then they keep doing that, you feel me? And that's the whole, I can't go to a grocery store because everybody at the grocery store is playing conscious peekaboo on people that don't respect the boss. And, you know, that's, like, if the boss goes to the grocery store, he can't even pull no food off of the goddamn, you feel me? They be like, what you doing? And I'm the boss. Anybody can say that. Though, did you ask the satellites? And then it's going to get quiet as shit. Like, the satellites didn't give them a heat wave about the mob and mafia, the boss coming. They did. They just anticipated it. And after anticipating it, they added their own meeting of minds of, you know, my energy, you feel me? Own family outside of the community family they said they're going to be a part of. And, you know, that's where authority always will have work. Because, you know, you might get kicked out of a community, but just like the owner flicked you off and said don't fuck with you, you have the more mature thing to not have someone on the street. It's not an ultimatum. It's to make sure they know where they can and can't stay. So if they choose to mature, because the more mature thing is to take into maturity, but have it probationed, then they gonna try to have hit a lick on probation, and then that national debt raises and shit like that. And you know, like I said, the consciousness peekaboo is so bad, an owner can't even go to the grocery store. You feel me? Owners can't go into the detention center, go through the paperwork, and be like, oh, release him today. Oh, release him today. Oh, release him today. You feel me? Owners can't goddamn go to the Atlanta Falcons and be like, how many people in Atlanta need a job and athletes? Oh, go put them on that team. Go put them on our team. Hey, bro, you fuck with that? But that's how bad the conscious peekaboo gunpointing game is, and the chances people had gotten for the last eclipse of high story repeating itself. And how many times I ran into authority, we know who I am with, and the host, like I, and also with the conscious peekaboo and people being like them in the auto bookkeeping, a chronological time of who everybody is. And you know, people got jealous of people getting badges for their stains and it being written down and shit like that. But that just makes it more potent if people can bring the hospitality and security, which the person from chronological time, and now there's the energy, this energy and atmosphere to say someone can. So that also being said, there's something in the atmosphere that I haven't done yet, and then it's gonna come to my atmosphere also, because everybody knows what a tesseract is. A phone has that prestige. So, like I said about the satellites, telling people when they are going to pop up, like the rank's gonna pop up, and from them paying for the distribution center and be like, fuck it, I'll lose $3, right? Because I'm gonna spend it anyway. But conscious people, them people just said, sucker, you should have never told me he's gonna pull up, and then they arrested them to delay their time for what they wanted to do, and got more in trouble with the mob or RP'd or whatever. You feel me? Phones do the same thing, and the satellites, you feel me? Cameras do the same thing with satellites. To show you, the satellites obviously ain't just Wi-Fi and 5G, because a camera is not known for having that service. When it first came out, and cameras was connected to the satellites of how guns jam, which I've been explaining to people for a long time. So yeah, this is one of them, don't bring a sword to a gunfight. But guess what? If you fight with that goddamn sword, bring that bit. You did. So, that also being said, all I'm trying to do is if I am the oldest soul of my family, what my descendants did. Oh, I can't unstretch their brain or mine. And my brain is stretched to the point that people know, if I wasn't my oldest soul, me being in this predicament, you feel me, the silence of this predicament would have made a different echo. So, that also being said, is the way of shadow followers backing off at the same time, not giving credit to what they backed off of, so people can make jokes about me not doing my hair, instead of the atmosphere having its vibration, like how we hear AC outside from the satellites, giving its sensories of what's going on. Even when you don't get the sensory of what's going on in the atmosphere from the satellites, you feel me, traffic is bad. And it can get congested. So yeah, that's just the whole background of, like I said, tesseracts and what I haven't done yet, which isn't, you feel me, showing the whole gist of when I said, what did I say? But I don't know what I said, you feel me? I don't know what I said. But the main thing I always echoes is I only want to fuck with my real family. I'm like, nothing wrong with that, but also echoes is people not having a chivalry or manners on that level of my family. So I look at them as disgusting. I'm like, well, I don't look at y'all as any words. I look at y'all. Y'all didn't invent words, so I don't look at y'all as any words. You feel me? My descendants, my ancestors invented words. Y'all didn't. Y'all learned how to speak a family's language. You didn't learn words. You didn't invent words. You feel me? You learned how to speak someone else's language, someone else's body of energy. And your energy gets translated with their invention of translation. Like I'm trying to tell. So that's another pseudo majority shit that I'm saying. Like, so you feel me? Pseudo majority of a generation from what it wouldn't work at a certain generation. They think they made it to a generation where they know their descendants and ancestors didn't invent words or nothing, but they speak in all these words to aggravate their families and other people. I guess, you feel me? Because it just echoed some shit that my numerous videos don't explain. So, but me having to make another video and get it on video is not another great video on that, okay, y'all? So, yeah, so, we don't know when that's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. And that's my whole point of getting held to a stretched brain that's not as stretched as mine, which is very dangerous. To the stretched brain that's not as stretched as mine and everybody that wants to be associated. Because NASA is just space. Gravity does not change that we are in space. Oxygen does not change we're in space. The satellites have a sensory between the no gravity and space. So, if y'all play Breath of the Wild and you use teleport, that's because of the sensories between no gravity, space, and whomever technology develop it from those aspects and attributes and more etc. So that being said, as my brain is stretched, and the brain is not stretched to that, but just seeing commercials trying to claim it's stretched to the comprehension of why etc. Because I don't know why this energy is in the goddamn atmosphere. Like he's trying to give me like vocabulary words to say that will work there too. You feel me? It's another thing they do. Like I said about animals, and so watching TV jungle slang of watching TV isn't having the technology, like I said about the organic technology. And technology was used as a word of metallic, you feel me? Outside the body. But technology, your body can be known as technology too. But I'm talking about the as without. You feel me? Alright? You feel me? As with and as without type shit. So watching TV is seeing people's auras and energy in the atmosphere. And then giving you a visualization. And then that goes to people's mythology of watching TV, which is really radio, where they make their own visualization from listening to the radio or watching the radio. They get, you feel me, one or the other. They get, they use their own visualization of what's happening, looking at people's energy, all the way to whatever scenario. And that's what a bunch of people do in the jungle. That's what animals do in the jungle. And I guess, as the buzz so below as with and without. Spiritual animals and shit like that. We get that whole gist of I'm sitting here because I watch TV too. Okay. I see that. Now you feel me? Like, fuck. But yeah, so that's just the whole scenario, and I'm gonna end it on that because I just wanted to break down. I am so grateful that I am who I am chronologically through time, and everybody's finally agreed. So everything else y'all talking shit about through the not needed. Cause I'm not telling nobody to calm down, and like I gotta go tell them ain't no go stopping. Thank you for watching Webpoolz. Disease, desires, or the main.